Monimoto alarm.
Now, for the past few years, I've been treating myself every year to a new piece of security, either for the bike or for the shed, because the thing about physical security, certainly physical security, is that, it's always a good idea to try and layer it, like an onion skin, and that's also very useful for cyber security. Anyway, I think I've reached the apogee of physical security on both the shed and the bikes. So I've got 3 bikes, and each one has at least 3 locks that you have to undo to get it out. And even with all the keys, it's all like takes me 10 minutes. And I think if I buy another lock, I'll go mad. I've got some really good locks and chains, squire locks. I've got a light lock. I've also got a 22mm chain that goes around all of the bikes that's made out of cold rolled steel, straight from the forges at Old Valeria. So that's really good. Anyway, so I thought this year I would treat myself to a different type of security, because I don't fit alarms to the bikes, because I never like the idea of something that goes into the wiring loom. Everyone seems to have problems with them, and also I'm never quite sure whether I'd hear the alarm. So what I was after was kind of a motion sensor and maybe a GPS tracker, but I wanted a remote one that didn't plug into the wiring loom, because I've got 3 bikes and I didn't want to buy 3 of them. And anyway, again, like I always think they cause problems. So I've decided to buy, and I've just picked up the Monimoto 9. So you can read all the specs and stuff, and I'll put a link in. So the Monimoto 9, it's got 3 key kind of aspects to it. So the Monimoto unit itself, probably a little bit bigger than like two packets of chewing gum, so but really easy to secure on the bike. I've just put some 3M, I think it's dual lock, but like the super sticky Velcro stuff on the back, and then I can secure it pretty much anywhere onto the bike. Okay, so that's the Monimoto unit. Next one is the key fob, which is paired with that. So when the key fob and the unit are more than 30 meters apart, that's when it goes into watchdog mode, and it's looking for any movement. I've found that it's actually less than 30 meters. I'd do some more tests, but I got bored really, to be honest. So those are the 2 bits and pieces that you get from Monimoto in your box for 150 quid. And then there is the app, the Monimoto app that you have on your iPhone. And in terms of the setup, it's all like super easy. I had no problems whatsoever. So yeah, those are the 3 constituent elements. So let's get on with the test. So what I'm going to do for this video is I'm not going to kind of go into all the functionality and all the other bits and pieces, but what I'm interested in is that I've got 2 use cases for the Monimoto. One is to actually put it onto the bike so it uses the motion sensor and I can track it if anything happens, but also because I don't have an alarm on the garage, I thought, I wonder if I could use the Monimoto as a motion sensor, a remote motion sensor, so that it would alert me via the app, if anyone kicked the door in. Because to be honest with you, even if I did have an alarm on the door of the shed, it's 2 floors below me. The building we live in is like 200 years old. It's got really thick walls and stuff. So the thing is, I'm a really deep sleeper as well. And to give you an example of that, when I was like 13 or 14, living at home with my folks, got up really early one morning to do my paper round, got down into the kitchen, and my mum was there like ashen-faced and weeping. And I was like, what's up, mum? And then she told me that my dad had had a heart attack in the middle of the night. Paramedics, ambulance had come, they carted him off to hospital, and I slept all the way through it. So I'm probably going to sleep through an alarm as well. So that's 2 things I wanted to try out. Like, first of all, how sensitive is it, just to make sure that it works, and would it work as a motion sensor when it's attached to the garage door? Right, so the first test I'm going to do is kind of the normal bike test. So I'm going to secrete the Monimoto onto the scooter somewhere, not going to tell you where. I'm going to put the key fob like over 30 meters away so that they're not together, and then I'll come back and I'll move the bike and we'll see what happens. And then the next test I'll do is I'm going to attach the Monimoto to this gate, and this is going to simulate my garage door. I'm going to give it a kick and we'll see what happens. But first of all, let's do the first test. I'll see you in a minute. Right, okay, I'm back. Let's do the test. So just to confirm, the Monimoto key fob is about 20 meters up there, and the Monimoto itself is secured on the bike somewhere. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the bike off its side stand and see what happens. You know, so I'm now acting as Johnny Scumbag trying to steal the mighty ADV 350. So there you go, taking it off that. I'm about to wheel it into my van. Shall we see what happens?
Monimoto alarm.
Oh,
Now in alarm. If you did not trigger the alarm, please check your Monimoto application and your motorcycle or another protected asset.
so there we go. That was the Monimoto alarm call. So that was the Monimoto that's secured on the bike giving me a call. And I think that was about a minute after it was moved. And what it's doing now is it's giving me a variety of different alerts. So it's saying alarm, GPS coordinates are available. So I can now find out where the bike is. Obviously I'm stood next to it. So yeah, literally all I did was move it off its side stand and the alarm went off. So I think that's pretty sensitive really, but it's not too sensitive, so that works well. Right, I'm going to conduct the second test now. Give me a minute. Right, okay, so this is the second test. So what I've done is I've attached the Monimoto, the motion sensor detector and GPS unit, onto this gate. So this gate is masquerading as my garage door. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a kick and see what happens. Right, so this is me kicking the garage door with my bad leg. Shall we see what happens? So again, this is all in real time. I'll speed the footage up, but I will let you know how
Monimoto alarm.
There we go.
Trigger the alarm. Please check your Monimoto application and your motorcycle or another protected asset.
So yes, there we have it. So a very gentle kick of the gate that is masquerading as my shed door, and I got a call, you know, within the minute, and you heard that then just coming through. So I think for that second use case, you know, using it as a motion sensor attached to the shed door, I think is going to work for me, you know, because as I said, I won't hear I wouldn't hear a normal alarm if somebody tried to break in, and I can be downstairs and in front of the garage, you know, within 30 to 45 seconds. So I think that works well. So I'm quite impressed. I mean, that little box, you know, and the key fob, you know, it's 150 quid, and you get 2 months free with the SIM card that's inside the little box. Uses a GSM network, so it's dirt cheap, and the GSM network is pre-2G, I think, and it's still all around, and it's in Europe. I think it does get deprecated and it does disappear around 2031 maybe. No, but I'm impressed. I think that's a good thing. It gives you peace of mind, and I think it's going to be really useful for when I take the ADV over to Europe. So yeah, I'll put all the specs in, and there's a few functionality bits and pieces which you can see, but yeah, I'm quite impressed with it. And I like the fact that it's standalone, you know, it's not plumbed into the bike. So not only can I use it across the bikes if I'm out and about on them, as I say, I can use it on the back of my shed door. Right, I'll see you later. Hopefully that was useful. Bye.
Monimoto alarm.